the third game of our series against the Corpus Christi Hooks, and as we are every Sunday, joined by the manager of the RoughRiders, Steve Buechele. And Steve, a tough one last night. When it gets away from you so early in the ball game, it can be a frustrating experience, I'm sure, for the hitters and also for the pitchers to just feel like to need to go through the competition over the next 8 innings.
Yeah, last night was one of those where I think, things kind of came to just a boil, and I'm not saying in a bad way, but, Cody's been having his struggles as a pitcher, and for the most part, we were out of it, before we even got to go to the plate. And it's tough to play the game when things are going that way, especially when you compound that with, 3 or 4 losses in a row or what we've had before. It's easy to lose focus, and I think, these guys need to be reminded that they really haven't been playing bad. The fact that we're not scoring runs, that's part of the game. Those things happen, but they've been playing pretty good defense. We've been pitching well. For the most part, I have no reason to be unhappy with how the team is playing. And, if you look at the standings, which I think a lot of those players do, and I don't, they're probably relieved to look and go, gosh, we're only a game or 2 out of first place. And, things aren't as bad as they seem. So these are things you go through with young players, but for the most part, I still feel like they're playing good baseball.
On the offensive side, when you do fall behind that early, how do you try to avoid the temptation of trying to get a 7-run home run? You had the bases loaded in the second inning, looked like there'd be a chance to get back in the game, don't get anything. That just must be a crushing feeling from a mental aspect.
It's tough, and as an individual, you want to do good. You want to get your team. You want to hit. And like you said, sometimes as a hitter, you want to go up there and hit a 3-run homer with nobody on base. It's not possible to do. And offensively, I think sometimes the harder you try, I know, sometimes the harder you try in this game, the worse things get. And, we just need to realize that we're still a very good team, that we've played well, and to not put that pressure on it. But as you see every year, teams go through this and players put that pressure on them, and, sometimes it takes a little while to get out of it.
Last night, Cody Buckel had a very difficult outing. He showed some glimmers in his previous start in San Antonio with the scoreless second, scoreless third, but it just seemed like nothing could go right for him. What have you talked about with Cody to try and get his confidence up, because it seems like he's really struggling with it?
Well, he's had a rough go. I don't think there's no way to sugarcoat it. He's had a rough go so far this year, and I think as a player, sometimes you hear about it or see other pitchers go through it, or you've read about it, or there's always something out there about somebody else that's gone through what you've gone through. But once it happens to you, and once you're going through it, it's really miserable. It's so hard to get out of, and again, you dig and dig and dig and fight and fight and fight, and sometimes it gets worse and worse and worse. And with Cody, he's going to have to keep a good head on his shoulders here, and realize that the way to get out of it is going to fall on him, the way he works, the way he goes about his business, and that things are going to get better. That's the ultimate, the belief I have in Cody, and the belief that Jeff has in him, and the belief that the Rangers have in him. He's going to be fine. He's going to get out of it. But the fact that going through it and being where he's at sometimes can be very difficult.
Has there been any talk of a role change just to get him out of his current routine? I know there's been some talk about people outside the organization about possibly going to Arizona to get the head right, or maybe a shift to the bullpen. Has there been any talk of that?
No, nothing definitive. And as you and I are speaking now, it's 14 hours after Cody pitched. So I think, I'm sure there's talk, or that there's discussions going on within the organization on what's going to be the best thing to do. Do we leave him in the starting role? Do we put him in the bullpen? I think the options are out there, and ultimately it certainly won't be my decision, but something will come about soon, and it'll all certainly be for the best interest of Cody.
We're here with Steve Buechele, one pitcher who did throw the ball well last night and really helped save the bullpen, and has done so a few times this year, Randy Henry. He threw 5 innings. It almost looked like he was getting stretched out with the way he went that extra inning. Very impressive. And do you see at some point him going into a possible role where he is throwing that sort of 5 innings, 6 innings?
Gosh, I don't know, but he's probably been the savior for us. While Cody's been struggling, it's almost as if Randy is kind of taken on the role of the guy gobbling up the innings for us, and he's done a great job doing that. How his roles, what will change as of right now, nothing is changing, but I and we as a team owe Randy a great deal of, we need to give him credit, because he's bailed us out big time.
Absolutely. I want to get your thoughts on a player for Corpus Christi, George Springer, who actually hit his first Double-A home run against the Riders at the end of last season, hit a home run yesterday, and he's one of the top prospects in the Astros system. Put your player evaluation cap on, if you can, a little bit, and tell them what you see in Springer for a guy who is obviously thought of very highly and played his college baseball with Mike Olt.
Yeah, I think highly of him as well. I think he does a real good job out in center field. He moves very well for a good-sized kid. He runs well. He's got a good arm. He gets good reads on the ball. Defensively, I think he does a good job. Offensively, I think he's in Double-A for a reason. He still has a little polishing to do, but certainly if you catch him while he's going good, as you can see, that home run he hit last night to the opposite field is probably the longest ball I've seen a right-hander hit the other way, since I've got back in the game. He can do some very impressive things, and he is deserving of that tab as being one of their best prospects.
Neil Ramirez starts today. Any reason to expect anything than what Neil has given you the last few starts?
I don't think so. I'm certainly looking forward to watching him pitch, and if he keeps doing what he's been doing all year, I think we'll be in good shape. He's been really good. He's been a completely different person and pitcher from what we've seen in the past. I think he's in a good place right now, and knock on wood, but we expect good things from Neil, and hopefully he'll keep it rolling today.
Boo, as always, thanks a lot for the time. Best of luck out there today.
All right, thanks.
That's RoughRiders manager Steve Buechele. We're back after this on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.